name is Matheus Couto. I work with UNEP WCMC and I am the Brazil Hub coordinator. Our focus in the Brazil Hub is to understand soybean intensification and expansion and its impact on nature and people. One research is focusing on understanding the effects of intensification and if it has saved ecosystems or actually caused more deforestation in the Amazon and in the Cerrado. Another component, we are trying to understand the territorial typologies of social impacts, because trade can cause positive, neutral or negative impacts, and we want to understand why. On another component, we are focusing on the trade agreements and its impacts on agriculture expansion and what will be the impacts on biodiversity and ecosystems. And we have also partners working with the private sector to reach a commitment for zero conversion in the Cerrado ecosystem.
Hello, I'm Bernardo Strasberg from the International Institute for Sustainability in Rio de Janeiro. In the Trade Hub project, we're exploring scenarios to reconcile the growth of soybean production and biodiversity conservation. We'll develop and apply economic and ecological models and develop land use scenarios to explore the impact of measures such as trade liberalization, safeguards in international trade agreements, effective implementation of national policies, more sustainable food production and consumption, and additional conservation and restoration actions.
Olá, nós do Imaflora, juntamente com os colegas da Exalc USP, estamos trabalhando para aumentar o conhecimento sobre o uso da terra nos biomas Amazônia e Cerrado. Isso passa por entender qual o real e específico impacto do cultivo da soja sobre o desmatamento. Mas não só isso, também estamos investigando a formação de preços da terra e outros aspectos ambientais, para ajudar a formulação de políticas públicas adequadas.
My name's Jonathan Green. I work for the Stockholm Environment Institute at the University of York. I sit within the Sustainable Consumption and Production Group, where we're primarily interested in modelling global commodity supply chains in order to link environmental, social and economic impacts of production through to the consumption activities that drive them. In doing so, our aim is to provide useful and contextualised data and information for policymakers, NGOs and industry. We've been modelling soy supply chains for several years now, particularly through our work on the Trace platform. We've recently worked with a group of scientists and practitioners, including Trade Hub colleagues Paz Duran and Neil Burgess, to develop a biodiversity indicator for this context, allowing us to map the impacts of soy trade on individual species in the highly biodiverse and yet often undervalued Brazilian Cerrado.
I'm Luiz Nakagawa, a researcher from SEBRAP. And our role at Trade Hub is to produce the knowledge to better understand the territorial impacts of soy production in Brazil, and also to give support to local actors and governments to make the best decisions. So firstly, it's important to highlight that environmental destruction for commodity production does not bring socio-economic improvements. There are positive impacts in producing regions, but they are very heterogeneous. Therefore, the big question is, commodity production will continue, but under what conditions?
Hi, I'm Marcello De Maria, University of Reading. We've recently launched a report that explored how soybean became one of the most traded commodities in the world, but also one of the most controversial. We've looked at different socioeconomic, environmental and institutional implications of the so-called soybean miracle. Now we are moving from theory to practice, and we are putting together a policy brief that looks at different options on the Brazilian table for a more sustainable soybean supply chain.
Hi, I'm Julie Sigles. At the Cambridge Institute for Sustainability Leadership, we have been exploring what the barriers are for traders and banks to define and implement effective anti-deforestation commitments. Additionally, we assessed the potential of sustainability-linked loans to incentivize and accelerate anti-deforestation action, and that of blockchain to achieve full traceability across soy supply chains. Currently, we focus our efforts in creating a corporate advisory forum that will allow the private sector to inform and benefit from cutting-edge research on sustainable trade. Join us!